The air is fresh and crisp, carrying the faint scent of blooming flowers and damp earth. Birds chirp in rhythmic harmony, their calls echoing through the trees, as if welcoming the arrival of spring. A gentle breeze sways the branches, sunlight filtering through the canopy to dapple the ground below. The village awakens slowly, each detail a reminder of the season's renewal. Dew glistens on the grass, and bees flit from flower to flower, gathering the first nectar of the day. A sturdy basket sits on the wooden table, filled with fresh ingredients. Plump tomatoes, crisp lettuce, and a small bundle of aromatic herbs hint at the meal ahead. A freshly kneaded round of tandoori bread is tucked neatly into a linen cloth, still warm from the village oven. The quiet clink of a knife against the chopping board adds to the symphony of subtle sounds, blending seamlessly with the rustle of leaves and the distant murmur of a stream. Each movement is deliberate, unrushed, and in tune with the natural rhythm of the morning. A hand reaches into the basket, pulling out ground meat wrapped in parchment paper. The faint smell of spices lingers, promising a flavorful experience. A small wooden box reveals a pinch of salt, cracked black pepper, and a blend of earthy seasonings. Every element has been carefully chosen, a simple reflection of the ingredients' freshness and the care taken in their preparation. The meat is placed into a shallow bowl, ready to be shaped into patties, but for now, it sits untouched, a quiet part of the unfolding process. The storyteller gathers the items, moving toward a shaded spot under a large oak tree. The soft crunch of footsteps on dry grass punctuates the calm, each step steady and purposeful. A makeshift cooking station awaits, complete with a cast-iron skillet and a simple arrangement of firewood. A thin wisp of smoke rises as the fire is sparked, growing steadily into a small but steady flame. The scent of burning wood mingles with the freshness of the air, creating a comforting, familiar aroma. Nearby, a tandoor oven sits ready, its clay surface weathered by years of use. The fire inside crackles softly, the sound both soothing and energizing. The storyteller adjusts the wood, ensuring an even heat as the preparation continues. The scene is serene yet alive, each detail serving as a reminder of the harmony between nature and human effort. The focus shifts to assembling the ingredients, their colors vivid against the neutral tones of the surroundings. The patties begin to take shape, each one carefully pressed and rounded by hand. The texture is firm but pliable, a testament to the quality of the meat. Flecks of seasoning are visible on the surface, promising bursts of flavor in every bite. The storyteller works methodically, each action unhurried but precise. The preparation feels almost meditative, a quiet ritual rooted in simplicity and mindfulness. The air grows warmer as the sun climbs higher, its rays casting a golden glow over the scene. A gentle breeze carries the scent of herbs and spices, mingling with the smoky aroma of the fire. Time seems to slow, the moments stretching and deepening, as if the village itself is leaning in to watch the process unfold. The ground meat is carefully scooped into even portions, each one shaped with precision into a thick, round patty. The surface is textured, slightly rough from the press of fingers, as tiny flecks of seasoning catch the light. A pinch of salt and cracked black pepper are added, followed by a subtle sprinkle of ground cumin and coriander. The mixture is firm but tender, holding its shape as it rests momentarily before meeting the heat. The skillet has been placed over the fire, its surface shimmering with a thin layer of oil. A sizzle echoes sharply as the first patty is laid down, the sound quickly mellowing into a steady hiss. Wisps of smoke rise, carrying the rich aroma of seasoned meat. The air is filled with the sound of cooking, rhythmic and soothing as the patties begin to brown. Each one is carefully turned with a practiced motion, revealing a deep, golden crust. Fat drips into the pan, bubbling and adding layers of flavor to the process. As the patties continue to cook, their juices glisten in the warm light, and the smell becomes more pronounced. The natural oils from the meat mix with the heat, releasing a savory aroma that blends perfectly with the faint, smoky undertones of the firewood. The edges of each patty caramelize, adding a slight crispness that contrasts with the juicy interior. Every step is deliberate, ensuring the balance of flavors and textures is just right. While the patties rest briefly, attention shifts to the tandoori bread. Its surface is soft yet sturdy, with a faintly charred exterior from its earlier bake. The bread is warmed over the fire, held carefully above the flames to avoid burning. Small air pockets form as the heat permeates, the bread puffing slightly as it absorbs the warmth. The scent of flour and smoke fills the air, subtle but distinct, as the bread becomes pliable and ready to complement the patties. A handful of fresh lettuce leaves is rinsed, their crisp edges catching droplets of water that glint in the sunlight. Slices of ripe tomato are prepared, their deep red hue a sharp contrast to the muted greens and browns of the setting. A small bowl holds a creamy, tangy sauce made from yogurt and herbs, its surface smooth and inviting. Each ingredient is simple, yet together they form a palette of flavors waiting to be combined. The skillet is briefly wiped clean, leaving behind a faint sheen of oil and traces of flavor. The remaining heat is used to toast the bread lightly, adding a subtle crunch to its soft texture. The bread's edges darken slightly, and a faint crackle can be heard as it is flipped. The process is quick but effective, enhancing the bread's character without overshadowing the other components. Everything comes together with precision, the individual elements arranged carefully and thoughtfully. The fire continues to crackle softly, its warmth lingering in the air as the patties, bread, and fresh toppings await assembly. Each piece of the meal carries its own story, yet they all feel connected, harmonizing in a way that reflects the simplicity and richness of village life. The patties are placed gently on the tandoori bread, their golden brown surface glistening with retained juices. The contrast between the rustic bread and the perfectly seared meat creates an inviting sight, the simplicity of the presentation highlighting the care and preparation. A crisp lettuce leaf is carefully laid over each patty, its vibrant green hue a refreshing addition to the warm tones of the bread and meat. The crunch of fresh lettuce adds a layer of texture to the unfolding creation. Thick slices of ripe tomato follow, their rich, red color bright against the muted backdrop of the setting. Each slice is perfectly even, the juicy interior glistening slightly under the soft light. The fresh tang of the tomatoes balances the savory richness of the patties, creating a harmony of flavors in every bite. The arrangement feels effortless yet intentional, each element complementing the other without overpowering. A small spoonful of yogurt and herb sauce is drizzled over the layers, its creamy texture seeping slightly into the bread. The sauce is smooth and cool, carrying the faint aroma of freshly chopped coriander and a hint of garlic. It pools lightly on the surface, offering a subtle tanginess that ties the flavors together. The drizzle is neither too heavy nor too sparse, leaving enough room for the natural taste of the ingredients to shine. The top layer of bread is added carefully, its slightly toasted surface providing a satisfying contrast to the soft interior. The burger is gently pressed, its layers holding together firmly without spilling over. The edges of the bread are slightly charred, their smoky flavor enhancing the rustic appeal of the dish. The stack is balanced, each element visible yet seamlessly integrated, inviting without unnecessary embellishments. The first bite is taken slowly, the bread yielding slightly before the flavors burst forth. The crunch of lettuce, the tang of tomato, and the richness of the patty blend perfectly with the soft, smoky bread. Each mouthful carries a medley of textures and tastes, from the charred edges of the bread to the creamy coolness of the sauce. The meal is simple but deeply satisfying, a testament to the care and thought behind each component. The setting enhances the experience, the natural surroundings amplifying the joy of eating outdoors. The faint crackle of the dying fire lingers in the background, accompanied by the distant chirping of birds. The sunlight filters through the trees, casting gentle shadows on the ground. The air is fresh and cool, carrying the faint scent of herbs and smoke, as if nature itself is sharing in the meal. A steaming cup of tea is poured, its amber liquid catching the light as it fills the small clay cup. The warmth of the tea contrasts with the crisp coolness of the breeze, creating a balance that mirrors the meal itself. The tea's subtle bitterness complements the richness of the burger, offering a simple but perfect pairing. Sipping slowly, the flavors linger on the palate, each sip drawing the moment out just a little longer. Once the meal is finished, the cleanup begins quietly and methodically. The fire is extinguished, the remaining embers smoldering softly before fading into gray ash. The utensils are gathered and wiped clean, the residual traces of the meal carefully cleared away. The breadcrumbs are brushed off the table, the surroundings restored to their natural state as if nothing had disturbed them. The day begins to wind down, the light growing softer as the sun dips lower in the sky. A faint orange hue spreads across the horizon, casting a warm glow over the landscape. The sounds of the village grow quieter, replaced by the gentle hum of evening. The meal, though simple, feels like a celebration of the season and the setting, a small but meaningful moment that lingers long after it ends. The scene closes with a sense of calm and contentment, the quiet joy of spring and village life resonating in every detail. The natural beauty of the surroundings and the care and the preparation of the meal combine to create an experience that feels timeless, leaving behind a memory that is as fulfilling as the food itself.